Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam. I'm a real estate agent in the Greater Toronto area. And what you're watching is Realtor Parent Series, where we connect with real estate agents around the world about how they're juggling family and work life. And we dive into real deep stories. And today I have Mario Armani, broker and owner of Armani Realty. And we're going to be diving into, because if you haven't checked this content out on social media, I'll definitely put it in the description below. You'll see how impactful it is when it comes to sharing his family stories and how he's helping his clients, and you can tell he loves what he does. So I'm super excited to have you here, and it is truly an honor, to be honest. And just before we got started, I just started talking about the fact that we were kind of in awe of your content, and my husband and I, Josh, we both loved, some of the stuff that you were putting out on content, but you were kind of resonating with people, real people, and it wasn't just selling properties and houses. So I really wanted to acknowledge that. And when you did that and you were telling a story about how you were leading life, which is what buying a property is like. You buy a property, you move into a neighborhood. And I wanted to know kind of what takes place in the back end. So before we dive into some more questions about your personal life and your work life, can you give us a little bit of an intro? How long have you been in real estate and how you kind of got started?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And it means a lot that you guys appreciated the content. A lot of the things that we were doing back 5-6 years ago, it hadn't been done. A lot of people laughed at us and criticized us just because it was not normal things that real estate agents were doing. But lo and behold, 6 years later, now people are dancing and acting like fools, and that's what's popular, right? So it's kind of crazy how things kind of evolved and where they started and where they are now. So I've been a realtor now for 16 years. 3 years ago in January was the 3-year anniversary where I opened up my own brokerage, Armani Realty. And that's been a little bit of a journey all on its own, just because I got to see now the back end of how a brokerage runs. And you know what I mean? It's just, it's great to have that experience. And it's something that you just can continue learning, you continue growing, even though real estate does seem like a very simple business on the outside. It is very complex. There's a lot of things that change on a day-to-day basis. And I'm sure you can appreciate it now with the market being as hot as it is, that we're constantly having to modify what we do. So
thank you for explaining that. And how does all of this kind of fit into your lifestyle? And I see that you have young children. So when did you all of a sudden make this big switch to having your own brand in brokerage, which is a feast of its own? So what was that approach like, especially kind of handling, and kind of juggling your family life?
Juggling real estate and family, I would kind of say is, it's incredibly difficult. Mm-hmm. I haven't mastered it at all. My family life and personal life takes a very, very big toll. Mm-hmm. This business is very, very draining. It just requires a lot of time. And if you're always that person that wants to make sure everything is great, you want to continue growing, you're always investing more time. Like at the end of the day, we only have 24 hours of time in a day. And I haven't been able to find that work-life balance. It's just impossible for me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, and I completely relate to you. And it's always a back and forth. And anytime you kind of find a schedule that works, all of a sudden there's some sort of a change that, and your family comes first, right? Whether if they're sick, if something, school closure, and with COVID and things are being so uncertain, it's hard to kind of manage that. And for you, what's your kind of schedule looks like? And I know you just said it's not really consistent all the time or constant, but what has it been like? Like, do you tell yourself, hey, this is my window and I'm home at 9 o'clock and nobody talks to me after that? Or what is your window like?
So up until about maybe 4 months ago, I was 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So now it's still 7 days a week. The only thing that I do is, let's say now at 9 o'clock or 9:30, I kind of don't respond to work emails or calls unless it's something of urgency. I'm trying to get clients to respect a little bit more of my boundaries. That being said, taking somebody's call or email or message at 10 o'clock at night or 9:30 at night, it's still very good. A lot of realtors wouldn't do that. And I know that you can appreciate this. A lot of real estate agents don't even advertise their cell phones. So you can't even talk to them or call them unless you have phone number. So I'm very big on communication, and it is a blessing and a curse to always want to be available for people. But it's just the way that I've always operated my business. And if I don't do it that way, I'm not going to feel like I'm giving people a great service. So it's going to be something that I think I'm never going to change it. I hope I can one day for my benefit and for my family's benefit. But for now, it's something that I feel like I'm really struggling to change that.
Absolutely. And especially for, newer agents or people who are kind of starting their career in real estate, it's so important to set this tone in a way, because it becomes habitual, right? Almost if you,
Yeah.
And especially, from Josh and I, we're somewhat newer agents, and we're like, we're going to be available all the time. And then we realized that because we have young children, so I have a 1.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and it completely changes everything that we're doing. And we don't have a lot of help, and we're struggling at a lot of the times. And we work with a lot of other real estate agents to help with their marketing. And it really changes the way kind of what I can give to people. And one of my really close friends told me this once, is that sometimes, we work so hard to get to this life, and often we miss out on little things in between, and that's our family. So I try my best to come back to. And I wanted to ask you, is your partner, does your partner or your wife, does she help you with your real estate at all, or?
Yes, she actually works. She works for the business, and she's my full-time assistant / office manager / takes care of everything.
Wow. And so are you both on the same page about that? And when did that transition happen? Did she take over more recently?
This was about maybe, I would say, 2.5 years ago. It just got to the point where I was probably almost going to have a nervous breakdown, and she just decided to come and help me, just for my health and just for the health of the family.
100%. And what are some strategies that you were using to kind of communicate with each other? Did you have a point where it got to a point where things weren't working, or did you always, when she got into the industries, when she realized, okay, Mario, I get it now, or did she always understood that you had, this wasn't easy?
She understood it. Very, very lucky that I have an understanding partner,
Yes.
But she understood it even more once she got into it and she saw a lot of the things that I was dealing with and a lot of the things that I had to go through. So she understood it a little bit better, but she did understand it beforehand, which was the reason that she decided to make a career change as well and say, okay, you know what? And she had a very good job, established job, making very good income. It was just a matter of, okay, we have to make a decision here for our family.
Yes. Wow. And I tell this to Josh all the time. Him and I always had these frictions where I would pour myself into work, and especially when I had my full-time work. And I always was someone who I considered myself a high performer, and sometimes it doesn't really work in your favor. And because he wasn't working with me, I realized we had trouble understanding each other. So now that we work together, I feel like there's a commonality for him to be like, I get why you're so, why we both are stressed, or we're being pulled in multiple different ways. So how do you both manage each other's schedule and are on the same page, that because you both have family together? So
in that sense, she kind of looks after the kids a little bit more, where I do what I need to do for work. So we kind of have that balance where it's kind of understood more that there's a lot of things that she's unable to do. Like, she can't go show my clients properties. She can't deal with the listing appointment. There's things that she's limited in doing. So a lot of that does happen after hours where the kids need to be attended to. So in that case, I would go ahead and do what I have to do for work, and then she would do what she has to do for our family.
And how old are your kids?
7 and 9, 2 boys.
Oh my goodness. So they were little when you were kind of in the midst of your career, I guess, too. Wow.
No, so I started many years before that. I would say that they were kind of firstborn when I was making that transition into growing into the next chapter of my real estate career. I think a lot of the newer agents now, and I probably sound like a jerk for saying this, but I think that they're very, very spoiled because they've only seen a good market. They've only seen people like beating at the door to buy a house, or, you know what I mean? Buyers rushing in to buy, right? They haven't really had make a system to go ahead and get people to call them or to use them. It's just a different era. So back when I first started, like, it did take me a long time to get started because things were not like they are now. We didn't have social media, which is a huge tool for getting new clients and new leads. So we had to do a lot of the things that, you know what I mean? They were old school tactics, right?
Yes.
Tactics are a lot harder. It takes you a lot longer to get going. And they were kind of in the midst of, you know what I mean? That shift, that digital shift, if you want to call it.
Absolutely. And you're not a jerk at all for saying it. It is the truth, right? And there's agents that I work with on a daily basis who are, you have all these platforms that are free, could work in your algorithm if you just put out content. And a lot of the content, there's so many companies that provide content to you. You have templates in Canva that you can use it. Life is so much easier now and people refuse to use them. And that's why there's still that stats that 87% real estate, 87% of real estate agents don't make it. So I completely understand that there's a grind that involved years ago of real estate agents going through that real estate cycle and having to experience that, right? And I'm really happy that you brought that up, because then you throw your personal life into it, all of it, because you are self-employed and you have an entrepreneurial life. Then how do you juggle all of that? And you're definitely going to have family pressures. Speaking of family pressures, what are some challenges that you and your family are facing right now when it comes to kind of, because of this realtor lifestyle? Because we know that it isn't easy. It's, I was talking to another agent and it's like, people think you get your license and they're going to give you a Mercedes and you're going to get a 600, like you're going to get all this money into your account and you're all of a sudden this fancy real estate agent. It's not quite like that. It's further from the truth. And so that's why a lot of real estate agents get into it. They leave their full-time job or they think they can do a career change, but that's not realistic. So that's why I want to put out content like this so that people understand that there's that there's real stories behind all of this with families and just even without family, right? Just juggling a new career. So
yeah, it's a constant struggle. Just very openly, it's something that at least once or twice a month, I'll probably break down and cry just because I feel like a bad father or a bad husband because I'm not spending enough time with my family and kids, and I'm not being who I want to be with them. But it's just, I guess it's the price you pay to, let's say, achieve a certain level of success in your business. And how I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I haven't found that work-life balance because it's just almost impossible when you're trying to grow your business. And right now we're in the point of the market where it's almost like if you don't grow, somebody's kind of growing over you and you're losing market share. So nobody wants to be forgotten because real estate is a cyclical business. The work we do today is what helps us get paid in 6 months to a year to 2 years from now. So it's like, okay, if I decide, I say to myself, okay, for 2 months, I'm going to take it easy. Well, that's no problem. In 6 months to a year to 2 years from now, that's when I'm going to really see the fact that I didn't do much work in the last 2 months.
Absolutely. Wow.
And that's
Yes. No, I'm really glad that you pointed that out. And do you get a chance to, I'm really happy and thanks for being so transparent about, how you feel about everything just as a father, but also running your own business. Do you ever get a moment where you realize that sometimes, you want to give it to somebody to kind of help you run it for you? Or do you ever find that, or do you feel like you created this baby and you want to hold it closer to you? Or do you ever think about creating your team now that you have your own brokerage?
Yeah, so I have for the past 2.5 years, I have a team member. So I went from having a team when I used to work for Royal LePage. I kind of left my team there. I wanted to start completely fresh. I was running it in an incorrect way before. I had the wrong people in place. I had a different mentality on how I wanted to run it. And without my team member, Adrian, I really couldn't do the amount of things that I do right now. He helps me out tremendously, and somewhat I'm very, very proud of because he just started into the business and I'm kind of grooming him. And it's like I always tell him, I want you to be a better agent than me. I actually wanted to work with you because I feel that you have those characteristics, right? So it's just a matter of experience. And the one thing I love about Adrian is that he was willing to learn. And that's where I see a lot of realtors, newer realtors, they're very quick to want to transact. And I get it because you need to pay your bills, but you're also helping one of the biggest financial transactions they'll ever make in their lives, right? So it's not just putting a sign on the lawn or doing some paperwork for a purchase. You could be legitimately screwing them up financially forever, because there's people that they have a bad real estate investment and they never ever recover. And I think a lot of the times real estate agents, we don't see how that's possible. We don't see how much power we hold in our hands, and the newer agent doesn't see it, and it's not their fault. It's just a lack of experience, right?
Yes. And also there's an accountability that you have to put on the education system too, right? I went over it more recently through Humber College than you perhaps might have been through Oria. Completely different. And to be honest, Mario, it felt like I was thrown to the wolves. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had a little bit more experience than a newer agents, because my husband and I were investing in real estate and had our own portfolio 3 years prior to that. So we worked with multiple different realtors, and we realized that we didn't actually get into real estate wanting to sell properties for other people. We actually got into real estate to have more access to information on the back end, because we felt like we were always, contacting real estate agents and we weren't getting the right information that we wanted. So you absolutely, when you talk about having that power, I feel like a lot of the time people they don't realize the type of relationship they're looking for. They just choose somebody online and they think they know them from whatever social media post, and it could change their life for the better or for the worse. And I'm really glad that you touched on that. I wanted to also talk about what are some of your little wins. We talked about challenges, but what are some wins you have as a business owner, but also as a father?
As a business owner, it's when people are truly happy. Just helping somebody and them genuinely valuing what you do. Because a lot of the times people don't value you as great as your clients are. Not all of them are really going to show that appreciation. So to the ones that do, and I'm lucky enough that over the past years, I do get to choose also the same way that people choose me. I also get to choose who I work with as well. Because that's one thing that I did realize going back now in 2015, when you have bad clients, that negative energy, or you're probably thinking that I'm probably crazy for talking like this, but that negative energy kind of goes to other clients. It goes to your family. It goes to your personal life. So I was realizing that there were a lot of transactions that I shouldn't be taking, and not because I didn't want the money. It's just because those clients were not a good fit for me.
Absolutely.
It's the same way that people choose where they work, right? If they work in a bad place, they're going to have a bad experience and they're not going to feel good. When us realtors work with bad clients, they don't make us feel good either, right? So I get it. A lot of the times we have to take on those clients because we want to get paid or need to get paid. But at the same time, it's also one of those things where we also have to protect our space as well.
Yeah. And to be honest, Mario, I actually talk about this very thing on our channel. So this is not an anomaly at all. So I'm really glad that you talk about this, because not a lot of people actually acknowledge this, and that is an instrumental to their business and their family and whatever life, right? I also wanted to ask you, are you using any systems and tools right now that is helping you stay organized?
Yeah, so we have a couple of CRMs that we work with. We're very organized in the sense of like my calendar's my life. Everything's on my calendar, just because I need to keep track of everything that's going on. Calendars obviously sync to my wife's calendar, so we both know what's going on at all times. If she needs to book a meeting for me, whether it's extracurricular or whether it's with the kids or anything like that, she'll go ahead and she'll put it there. And then this way we're both in sync. And part of the daily to-do is wake up in the morning and check your calendar, right?
And does your kids go to activities right now? Any extracurricular activities, or are they with a nanny or other family members at times?
No family members. It's just us. We take care of them all the time. Unfortunately, we don't have any help. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where we try to kind of have that balance where, like, let's say they were going to Kumon for, I would say, a good 4 years. Now in March, they're actually going to be starting coding classes. So coding classes are okay because they give us, you know what I mean? Like, let's say an hour, even though we can't really do anything for that hour, just sitting in the car alone, it's going to give, well, in many cases, whether my wife takes them or I take them, in that case, you can just kind of have an hour to kind of unwind, relax, and then regroup and recharge. And then when you see the kids again, you can be a little bit more calm.
Yes, no, that's really good. And I will say this, how crazy that social media can make people seem like they're leading this amazing life and they have it all under control, but also under control in a way that it's all peachy, you know, that they have it all planned out and organized. And you may, but there's a lot of struggle and challenges that go in between. And it isn't easy to, you know, jump into a career like real estate and to become a real estate agent, but in your case, a broker and an owner, which I applaud you, and put out such amazing content in a way that it appears that, you know, you have it all together, and you do, you know, but it isn't easy. So what, do you have any advice for couples or any partners that are in real estate that are thinking about starting a family, or people that are looking into getting real estate and they have young children?
Very, very hard question to answer. So for couples looking to get into real estate, I think it would be a great thing because the biggest challenge, and I do have a lot of colleagues of mine that are unfortunately separated or divorced from their partners just because sometimes they don't understand. So if both of them are in real estate, I think it's actually a match made in heaven because they both understand. But yeah, communication is key. I think communication in any relationship, whether it's business, friendship, partner, it's definitely key, making them understand what it is that you need from them and what they need from you. And just try to, and something again that I'm trying to master is trying to keep calm. You know what I mean? Just because a lot of the times we have a lot of stress and you're having those bad days and you know what I mean? Your reactions could obviously trigger a lot of bad moments, right? So we just need to learn to control our emotions. And it's kind of the number one thing that I'm trying to work on every single day.
Wow, no, that's amazing. Thank you. And for any of you that are watching and you're looking to buy or sell and you're in the Greater Toronto area, I'll make sure to leave Mario's contact information in the description. Please get in touch with him. He is an amazing real estate agent, one of the top real estate agents actually in the Greater Toronto area.
Though, right?
What's up?
They can call you as well.
Absolutely. But it's a true honor to have you, and there's business for everybody. And it is truly, you know, I brought you on here because there were agents that were contacting me that saw my content and they knew that I was, you know, I've been in the industry as a real estate agent for a little bit over a year, and people will contact me through my YouTube content to ask me what it's like to have given birth or gone through pregnancy, taking the program and having a newborn, breastfeeding while taking the program, while having to start a new career. And I most recently left a full-time job, and what is that like? And you won't believe it how many people are thinking they're just getting their program and are potentially thinking of conceiving and having family, and they're like, should I do this? And they hear miscommunications from other real estate agents, and I want to tell them it's all on you, however you want it. There's so many different pictures you would see of how people handle it, but it's how, what's your capacity. And so that's why I brought you in to show people.
Extremely challenging. Everything about the business is tough, but I really got to give it up to women because having to kind of pause your career because taking care of a kid, there's certain things, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm a father, and I always tell my kids, you'll never replace your mother. As good as I could ever be, the mother is the mother. And the fact that you guys have to care for the child, and it's kind of hard to juggle both things while having like a newborn or a toddler. I really I don't know. When it comes to women in real estate and especially like those new moms, I kind of really feel for you guys because even if you guys are doing really well in your business, I have a lot of friends of mine that are women and are in real estate and they're doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden they have kids and everything kind of, it has to stop for them, right? They have to kind of shut down. So then when they start up again, it does take them a little bit to get the ball rolling. And it's not what it was before. For a man, their wife has a child, and they kind of pause for a little bit, but they continue with their career. So I really gotta give it up to women who are in real estate and have kids and all that. It's really commendable what you guys have to do. It's much harder than what we have to do.
Thank you for acknowledging that. That does go a long way, and to hear it from a perspective of a man, but a father is huge, and a real estate agent, a really good real estate agent. So thank you, and thank you for really telling people that it's not as easy as it looks, and there's a lot of work. You know, I saw this quote where people expect results of things that they didn't do, you know, and you have to put in the work to get the results. And often it's in this industry, I don't think people have a very misunderstanding, you know, of what they think the industry would be like. And I'm really glad that you were honest transparent, and I'm super grateful for that. And thank you everyone for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. And if anything from Mario, I'll definitely pass it on to him, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you so much, Mario, for just joining me. I am so happy that you were able to carve out a little time for me. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and look forward to doing another one with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mario.